You're so right about it. But the key thing is, anybody who is listening to me and they follow me and all that, it's the power of other people money, OPM, legally raising through syndication, rules and regulations, transparency, honesty, everything is what builds people, companies, businesses, everything. So I think that's the message. I mean, if you want better lifestyle, if you can just harness that skill, how to raise money, that's all it takes. And then we are able to buy bigger businesses, bigger, if we are flipping, no problem, wholesaling or buying homes, instead of buying one, you're buying 10 because now you got more money as down payment and things. Same thing is with the multifamily. It's just 15 homes in one roof or whatever, right? 15 units and 20 units. Yeah, yeah. 15 homes in one roof or whatever, right? 15 units and 20 units. Yeah, yeah. So where can we go from here? Tell me, I think let's talk about what do you really tell new people coming into your as clients? You have to kind of, what do I call it? Like when you go, when the sea, around the sea, right? People are playing and they're making, castles and all that. And now the sand is rough. It's got so many things on it. You got to level it up.
Yeah.
Level it up so that they are willing to listen to you and me in my academy, what we teach. So take us through that. I mean,
The first thing, actually, I just did this with a new client today. The first thing that I do is I have them read a book. And everybody's like, book, Well, here's the thing. This book is 100 years old, so there's no copyright laws on it. You can get it on Google. You can literally download like 20 or 50 different sites you can download it on. And it's called A Message to Garcia.
Oh, really? A Message to Garcia?
A Message to Garcia.
Holy cow.
Okay. And yeah, it's the base for everything that I do. Once somebody reads that, and it's really, you know what? I'm not even going to get the cat out of the bag. But once you read it, you won't be able to sit there and go, well, maybe if I would knew this, right? It really kicks you in the butt once you read it. And at every workshop that I do personally, I usually start out by just reading that story. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to read, and I read it, and people start learning about ownership, and and it's just great. So, and there's some stuff in there that it's old. I mean, it's 100 years old, so there's some reference. I want to get radioactive, and that was a new thing back then, right? And so, but you get it, right? And so I do that. And then the first thing that they do is well, here's the problem. They haven't worked. Whatever's stopping you right now, I guarantee you, Vinney, is going to stop you for whatever you want to do now, because you haven't fixed the problem, right? The roadblocks. You don't know how to get around them. If you look up and you're 5 feet away from a wreck going 50 miles an hour, you're part of the wreck.
Yeah.
But if you're a quarter mile back, and you see that, you can make adjustments, right? Mm-hmm. So we go through a lot of, it's mindset, right? And so the first part is like 8 sections. Everything else is like 4, and they're small, right? But these 8 sections, we go into who are you? Where are your problems? How do we fix those first before we go into anything else? Let's fix the problems first. Let's get that junk out of the brain, right? The more you know about your mess, the better you can fix it, right? If you don't know, like, okay, I'll give you here's one. Mm-hmm. When my dad and I were watching, I know which house it was in. So I was in anywhere from 1st grade to 3rd grade. I don't know which one, but I know it was there. Mm-hmm. And we were watching a football game. And he said, and I asked him, Howard Cosell was on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, do you ever think I'll make as much money as Howard Cosell? And my dad, I always like to say, my dad was in the CIA, pretty smart guy, certified internal auditor.
Yeah.
Okay. So a real cut and dry guy, just the math, right? Okay. And he said no, because it wasn't mean, but he was that's the analytical kind of guy that, statistically speaking, he was right. Okay. Yeah. And he said, no, I didn't realize until many, many years later that was what was keeping me back. Right. And so when I figured that out, I decided to prove my dad wrong. And so I looked up Howard Cosell. He made $20 million. And this was years back, and it's changed now because of Walter and you. But I said, okay, he was worth 20 million. I'm going to be worth 40. I'm going to prove my dad wrong. Right.
I love it.
So, or maybe, maybe you're right. I'm not worth $20 million. I mean, you could look at it that way too, right? I'm not worth $20 million, worth 40, right?
Yeah.
But when I figured that out, that really so much luggage, on the shoulder, right? The weight's on the shoulder. And so I forget where we were going with this, but it got me off on it.
I mean, no, you're right. With the mentoring, it's always, you got to find what's the obstacle in and that is the key. That's the real key to success. If you cannot picture yourself being successful, you're not successful, right? We talk about affirmations and this and that, but you got to train your subconscious.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9:30 Pacific with Vinney and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you. But you got to train your subconscious and conscious, mind to really be passionate about what you want to become one day. One of my very good mentors, he passed away. He says, Vinney, you're in the process of becoming that person today. So you got to be every day incrementally become better. If you want to get there. If you don't, if you want to go down, that's your choice. So that's why lots and lots of people want to achieve success in life, but we are not willing to do the things, which successful people do. The other part is why there is so much disparity in earners of 1%, 0.5% in the world or in America, and then 2%, then 3%, then 5%, and then 75%. There's just a big gap, right? Those things. Yeah. But no. This has been so exciting. What else comes to your mind? We're gonna wrap up, and then of course how people can reach you, and we'll be putting all the links below the podcast. And guys, I hope it's been kind of helpful, for you to look at your life and to look at where you are in your business and what's stopping you. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'll tell you this. You hit the nail on the head. I'll tell you what's stopping everyone. And I always go down this road. It's not learning. Everybody says they want to learn, and that's great. But learning doesn't build confidence. People think it does, but it doesn't. Then you've got to take action. And people say, well, action's giving me confidence. Not real confidence. Results. Results. When you close your first deal, that was 10 times better than the learning or the action you took. And then you said, how did I get that result? And then you look at the actions you took to get that and what you needed to learn. But people get it backwards. Like I was talking to some kid when we were at the event together. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I'm going to start reading this book and I'm going to do that. I was like, dude, you know what you want to do? And he goes, yeah, and I just need to study so I can make sure. I said, no. Go ahead and make the mistakes.
Yeah.
Take the action, get the results. When you get the results, that'll tell you what actions and learning that you need to do, right? And so that's for people. I'll tell you this. We touched on it. And I know we got to go.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when I have people bring out their calendar so they can book their calendar correctly, I always ask, what's the first thing? And everybody always says the same thing. I got to get all my appointments on the calendar. And I go, no. You got to get your vacations, your kids' dates, their whatever, all the fun stuff that you're wanting to do in life. Yeah. That goes on your calendar first. Everybody's like, well, I'll fill up my calendar. Great. Okay. So the second thing, and this is where you're going to really like self-development.
Yes. Yes.
You want to earn more, you got to learn more, period.
That's
right.
It.
I mean, you are not the man you were 20 years ago, even a year ago. Right. I would guarantee you're not the man you were when we woke up this morning. Yeah. We had some texts that were like, oh, wow. It just kind of even the little things. Right.
Yeah.
And so the second thing is self-development. And the first 15 minutes of my day starts from reading a book. Okay. And Walter, who I know is a protege of yours, he is on this mission to read a book a week. Yeah. I say, well, Walter and you are ahead of the game. Just like we don't want to do Warren Buffett's investment property. I say, find a book that's going to teach you the things you need maybe 3 things you really need to learn. And you spend 3 or 4 months on that book. You read, you study, you apply. Read, study, apply. And because if you read a book, you get a good idea, but you don't get to work it, right? And so you get the self-development. So then after that, there's nothing worse than having a mind that can do it and a body that can't. Yeah. So you got to work on you. You got to be physically fit. You want to live long enough to enjoy everything, right? And you want to die on the golf course. I mean, right? I mean, so if you play golf, right? But and then the fourth one, that's when we actually go back into the roadblocks.
Yeah.
Okay. And we figure out the roadblocks. Now the fifth one, and we can change these depending on, but what's one thing that every business needs, and I won't put you on the spot, but every business needs leads.
That's it. I mean, that's the engine. Marketing, leads, sales, revenue. It's the engine of the train. I say that all the time.
But what do people want to do?
Yeah.
They want to learn. They want to, look, I'm in insurance. I need to know. No, you don't need to know anything about insurance to sell insurance. What? No, you need to be what I call a bird dog. You learn a story, you go out and start telling that story. And then Vinney says, hey, Stephen, that's really cool. Tell me more. And I'm like, Vinney, I don't know more, but I know the president of the company or my manager knows more. Well, you know what? I'll buy dinner. We'll go to Chili's. I'll buy, if you don't mind, let me be a fly on the wall. I'll get to learn from him. I'll get to learn from you. Yeah. And, after the 5th or 6th time that you've bought, this has happened to me, you're like, God, my manager, the president of the company, Vinney's not that smart. He's telling the same damn story every time. And they're asking the same damn questions every time. What the heck? I'm paying for this. And so they'll stop calling you, right? But then what happens? Somebody will ask a question that you can't answer. And by the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't be studying. You should be. But 10% of the time studying, 90% bird dog, right? And so then they'll ask you a question. You go, you know what? I don't know the answer. People love authenticity. Don't make it up if you don't know it. Right. And so, but I do know the president of the company or my manager. Yeah. Let me buy you a chip. And that's so 90% work, right? Okay. Taking the action so you can get the results, right? And the only result you need when you first start is to get the appointment. There's nothing. Jim Rohn said major and minor, right? Major thing. The only major thing out there. I mean, you can do a lot of minors, answering the email, replying to text and all this kind of stuff, learning the craft. But the only major thing out there is when you're in front of the customer.
I love that. Love that. Stephen, as a matter of fact, I did some study way back when I was a motivational speaker. I timed myself for the whole week, brother, how many minutes I was in front of the customer. I would challenge everybody to do that. To really take a whole week and you say, okay, every time I'm in front of customer, it's 30 minutes, 20 minutes, I'm on the phone call. What are you saying to the customer? What are you saying to your client? It's so mind-boggling out of whatever 40-hour week.
Yeah.
I was in front of customer.
But here's where people get tripped up. Knocking on the door is not talking to the customer. When they open up, that's when it goes. And when they close the door, that's when it's over, right? Driving is not talking to the customer, right? You know, I knew you knew, but
No.
I hear people go, I spent 30 hours talking to customers. Really?
I know. I was so ashamed. 4.5 hours in 40-hour week. I was talking. I said, man, I'm doing a lot of bad stuff. I mean, all these hoopla, this, that, all that, I mean, what really I need is get in front of customer. I'm so glad you said that. I also want to say, and I've been recorded in many presentations where I say, when kids were young, Neil and Monica, I would take my Franklin. I had Franklin Daytimer. I remember, those.
I remember those. Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell them, when do you want me to come to your school? What day? And when is the field trip? And I'm so glad you said that again today, because I'll cross off all those dates for the whole school year. Then somebody wants that date and time. You say, I already am busy. That's it.
Yeah.
So easy to do, but you've got to do it first. And that just reminds me about Stephen Covey's, example. I saw him live, and he's had a jar of water, a jar of, like a lot of pebbles and stones and all that, right? So he started putting actually these, gravel and sand and everything and all that stuff, and then water, and it says, oh, it's the jug full. And it was. He says, can I put anything more? He tried to push it. Water came out. He says, oh my gosh, I forgot. These 4 rocks were left behind. We got to put them in the jar. So physically, I remember him looking at him. He took those rocks and pushed them into that jar. Water flew out, the sand came out and everything. Stephen, guess what? Then he said, okay, let's do it one more time. He put the rocks first into the jar, then the gravel, then the sand, then everything, then water. Everything was perfect. And you know what? He says, I remember him. He says, how many times we just don't put the most important activities, which we just talked about, talking to the customer, talking to, our time with the family and kids and children. We don't put it in the jar in our day or in our life. Metaphorically, that example indelibly, stayed in my mind. And I mean, that's the beauty of us really prioritizing and making sure that we are able to have those special memories with the family. And that's what your goal is. But that's what we started with this whole
TMV, baby. Take more vacations. That's
more vacations. See, that's the thing. So I hope everybody listening to us, please look back. I hope you got some great nuggets from Brother Stephen. And, it's so exciting to really talk about what's important in life and take more vacations. I know I was telling my wife, this is November now, December, we should go again. We have been on 5 vacations this year. I said, let's do the 6th one too.
You better, because then you're gonna have to pay me, because all my clients take a minimum of 6 vacations a year.
Oh, they do. Oh, yeah.
Starting from day one, it's so yeah. So, but you get 6, so we're good. I'm not going to ride you too hard on that then.
I love it. Stephen, how can people reach you, brother? How can people reach you?
The TMVclub.com, or Stephen, if you want to do email, Stephen Beaver at the TMV Club. And Stephen with a V, and the beaver like the animal with the flat tail. I don't know about you, but if you're not on my phone, I don't answer it. So, but once you get on, if I'm available, I'll texting is the best way. Once you get on my phone, that's really the best way. I look at my calendar or my email once a day.
Yes.
I don't live there. And so, but yeah, if you'll do that, Stephen Beaver at the TMVclub.com. By the way, I bought TMVclub.com because people were forgetting to put the in their front of it. Forward it. But yeah, the TMVclub.com.
Oh, no.
Oh, also, I'm on Facebook if they want. I'm on Facebook every morning, Monday through Friday, doing nuggets like what we did today. I talk about stuff. It's sometimes it's mindset, sometimes it's business, but it all works together. And so, that's a lot of fun. And TMV Stephen Beaver on Facebook. Actually, if I'm on it, And now I don't do a lot of social media, but I probably got 8 or 9 accounts. If you just search TMV Stephen Beaver, and that's you don't have to look any further. That
Awesome. Awesome. Again, thank you for your time hanging out with me. I appreciate that. Hey, guys, if you really got some great nuggets, please share this episode, like, subscribe, give us 5-star reviews. Please give written reviews also, because that helps a lot. Thank you again for watching and following, all these different channels that we are trying to put great education, great, all these great nuggets for you. So thanks again, Stephen, and we'll talk to you again, brother. Thank you again, for joining Vinney Chopra this week on this podcast. And please subscribe, share, give comments, and give 5-star rating if you can on iTunes, because that really helps a lot for us to bring great guests. And also iTunes raises our rankings up. And I hope you have been very happy with Vinney Chopra and team, who are able to bring great information. If you'd like to invest with us, please go ahead and go to vinneychopra.com/invest. Thanks again. God bless you.